it's Reagan, and today I'm here to do my June TBR. And this video is being sponsored in part by Disney Book Group and HarperCollins. Honestly, I cannot believe it's already June. I feel like I say that at the start of all of my TBRs where I'm just flabbergasted by the concept of it somehow being a new month, but alas, it is, and I must move forward with a new stack of books I want to read. This month I'm actually being rather ambitious with my TBR. I am doing some traveling, but I'm also trying to challenge myself with some different reading challenges, which I will vlog throughout the month. So I wanted to get a stack of books that I want to get to. Also, I'm finally attempting to tackle a book that has been haunting my bookshelf for ages, which is very, very, very exciting. But anyway, without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right in to my ambitious TBR. So the first book I'm going to talk about is the book I am currently reading, and that is The Tethered Mage by Melissa Caruso. This is a book I spontaneously picked up at the airport. I was at the airport and I had finished the book I had brought, and the second book, my backup book, I wasn't really in the mood for. So I saw this in the airport library and I said, yes, I am intrigued. This is set in the Bavarian Empire, and magic here is scarce. This empire is very, very powerful, and it's basically controlled by like one central city, the Doge, and then his 9 counselors, and then all of these connecting territories and kingdoms that have basically bent the knee to this central city. To basically hold their power, they have used mages. These mages use elemental magic. However, it's very lethal and also not very controllable, even by the user of magic. So the solution that the Empire came up with was the mages will be tethered to someone else who basically can control when and when they cannot use their magic with the release word. Our main character at the start of this novel is the daughter of a very powerful political woman, and she is part of the Council of 9. However, she just really wants to spend her time inventing and reading books until one day she stumbles across a fire mage completely out of control, and to basically save the city, she tethers the mage to her, and that kind of starts this whole political adventure full of magic and intrigue. I'm about halfway through this book right now, and I have to say I'm really, really enjoying it. I find the world to be very unique, but the element I like most is definitely the politics. Our main character kind of trying to figure out and navigate it for the first time is interesting, but her mom is so cool and so powerful. She's like knows everything, and it's awesome. I feel like it has kind of like a medieval Venice setting with magic. It's great. I really, really like it so far. The next book I'm going to talk about is Little Do We Know by Tamara Ireland Stone, who is one of my favorite contemporary authors. And also, random fun fact, I found out the other day that my dad knows her. They like live in the same town. He told me this and I was like, poof. This is her new YA contemporary novel, and it follows our 2 main characters, Emery and Hannah, who are next door neighbors and ex-best friends. And at the beginning of this novel, they haven't spoken in months since the fallout of a huge fight they had where basically they both said words they could not take back. Since this fight, Emery has been spending her time basically finalizing and perfecting her performing arts application to UCLA and spending time with her boyfriend Luke before she goes away to college. Hannah, on the other hand, life has been kind of falling apart as a lot of her family's financial issues are beginning to come to light, and she has to deal with the aftermath of that. All these 2 characters want to do is talk to each other, but they both refuse to, until one night they both find Luke doubled over by his car after he has an accident. This accident brings all 3 of these characters together in unlikely ways, all confronted with either having to move on together as a unit or solo. I am excited about this. This book sounds like it has great drama elements, and I personally really enjoy novels set on kind of the precipice of characters leaving for college. There's something about that like 4-month span that I always find really fascinating to read in a contemporary setting, and I am so pumped about this book. This book really piqued my interest. The next book I'm going to talk about is the Proustopia Book Club Pick of the Month for the month of June, and this month Sasha and I decided to be a little adventurous, and we picked Save the Date by Morgan Matson. It is Morgan Matson's newest contemporary release. We thought just in time for summer we should read some contemporary. We thought it would be so much fun. This is a story that follows our main character Charlie, and Charlie's sister is about to get married, and we follow the chaotic and hectic wedding weekend leading up to this wedding. Charlie's basically thrown herself into this wedding with all of herself and all of her might because she doesn't really want to think about how she's about to leave for college only in a few months, and she wants to make sure her sister's wedding is the best wedding possible. However, when the wedding planner quits and everything begins to fall apart and Charlie's crush unexpectedly shows up, things get a little wild and a little crazy. I've heard really good things about this story. It sounds really funny and a lot of fun. so I'm super pumped to have selected it to read this month. The next book I'm going to talk about is one of my most anticipated books of the summer, and that is My Plain Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is another book written in like the Jane universe. Keep in mind, each one of these books are standalone, so you do not have to read the first one that they release, which is My Lady Jane, to read My Plain Jane. They all exist in their own world. But if you're not familiar, these books are absolutely hilarious. They basically take either a historical figure, or in this case, a fictional character, and do a retelling of their life or their story in an incredibly humorous and quirky way. Take it even to the next level because the narrators actually speak often to the reader. They just kind of break all the rules when it comes to the story. My Plain Jane follows a retelling of Jane Eyre, which I honestly could not be more excited about. Jane Eyre is one of my favorite books of all time, and to encounter this story with a more fun, quirky twist, I can't wait, especially if that includes a Mr. Rochester cameo. But yeah, the back says, which I feel like is so fitting, it says, "Move over, Charlotte Bronte. The authors of My Lady Jane are back with a fantastic, romantic, hilarious, and entirely faithful, not really, retelling of Jane Eyre," and it just sounds like everything I want in my life, and I can't wait to pick it up. The next book that's on my list is not this, but it's A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. I recently binge read the first 2 books in this series, absolutely love them, and the 3rd book is coming out this month, and I could not be more excited. This is an amazing Roman-inspired fantasy novel with a dual perspective. The characters and the plots and the world of the story is just so immersive and amazing. I can't wait for the 3rd book. I feel like I have been non-stop talking about these since I read them because they're that good, people. But yeah, Reaper at the Gates, top of my list. Can't wait to get to it. Can't wait for it to come out, please. The next book I want to read is Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. This is Marisha's YA debut and another one of my most anticipated books, but I've already read and loved one of Marisha's adult novels, Night Film, which totally like blew my mind and terrified me at the same time, so I think this book is going to be incredible. The premise sounds intense. It basically follows a group of 6 best friends who are popular, who are beautiful, and they basically rule their private school until one day one of the 6 dies in a very shocking way, and this kind of breaks up their friendship as the 5 remaining friends kind of go their separate ways. However, one night they all decide to reunite in this house to kind of figure out, one, how everyone's doing, but perhaps talk through the shocking death of one of their 6 friends, until they get a mysterious knock at the door. There, a man tells them the impossible, that they're now all existing within something called a Neverworld Wake, which is basically a break in time, and the only way to escape is for the 5 to select one person to survive and the rest have to die. And this just sounds so intense. This book is short, so I feel like it's just going to be like full intensity the whole time as we figure out what the heck is going on. I could not be more excited to pick this book up. Man, I love my June TBR this one. And the last book I want to get to is a very exciting one, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is a book I have incessantly talked about on my channel for a long time, about how I've been meaning to read it, blah, 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 but I finally feel ready. I don't think I've ever had it on a monthly TBR before, so this feels like a really big step. I really do not think I'm going to be able to finish this in the month of June, but I do think starting it is a great place to start with this novel. I have been craving some classic adult adventure fantasy, and I said, you know what, I should just read The Way of Kings. I honestly couldn't totally tell you what this is about, but I'm sure it's a saga of our time, and it includes everything fantasy, magic, politics, adventure, characters, death, betrayal, everything you want. I'm sure it exists here. This is going to be a massive book series. There's 3 books out now. I believe there's going to be 13. It's time, people. It's time. Alrighty guys, that is my June TBR. Let me know down below some books you really hope to get to this month, as I would love to know, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!